Welcome to our award-winning college, DLD College London.
Okay, welcome everyone. My name's Ben and I am the Head of Admissions here at DLD College. Lovely to see so many of you joining us this evening, some of whom I've spoken to as well, so that's great as well. So the evening itself, just to run through the schedule, we're going to hear from Irfan Latif, who is our college principal. He will be giving an introduction to the college, a brief history, the college ethos, and some good news stories about DLD over the past year. Following that, we'll hear from Mary Doe, who is going to talk about our academic offering and results. Following that, we'll have John, who's going to talk to us about our online provision during the pandemic and how the support with online will continue. Tom Hadcroft, who's our Vice Principal Pastoral, will be talking about everything pastoral, as well as well-being, neurodiversity, and how this links to academic achievement. Following that, we'll have a talk from James, our Vice Principal for Boarding, focusing on everything to do with the accommodation that we offer on site. And then there'll be a short talk from myself regarding our application process. Now, in between each talk, there will be also some short clips, never seen before clips of the college, which were filmed just last week, showcasing our facilities and our provision. And then at the end of all of the talks, which will take around 30 minutes, we'll have our FAQ session. I'm delighted to confirm that we've also got Charlotte Price with us, who's the head of our student council, who's going to be there to answer some of those real life student questions as well. So please do think of questions that you may want to ask during the session. Yeah, please come loaded with questions because that's what we're here to do. We want to answer all of your questions on the evening. So before Irfan kicks off with his talk, there's one short clip and then I will introduce Irfan after that. Okay, thank you very much.
DLD College, located in the heart of London, has over 300 students from 56 different nationalities, studying GCSEs, A-levels, BTECs and international foundation programmes. DLD is known for top academic achievements from mixed abilities, the highest level of pastoral support, some of the best boarding facilities in the UK, and is dedicated to ensure students reach their first choice university.
Okay, and without further ado, I'd like to welcome Irfan Latif, our college principal. Thank you very much, Irfan.
Thank you, Ben. I'm just checking if I can share my screen and off we go. Thank you very much. And can everyone see that screen? Great. Good evening and welcome to all of you to our open evening here at DLD College London. Thank you for joining us today and you will hear from a number of my colleagues speaking passionately about our award-winning school. Now, these are challenging times, but like the virus, we have mutated into something stronger. Our powerful ethos and our core values of tolerance, respect, and kindness have strengthened our community during this unprecedented time in our history. We're a family looking out for one another and caring for each other. That's what makes our school so special, those strong and powerful relationships that we nurture and foster here makes for a happy, supportive, and friendly environment. I am so privileged to be the principal of this innovative and sector-leading school. As a Good Schools Guide recently said, DLD is a friendly, relaxed place with excellent pastoral care, attentive teaching, and high aspirations for all. A wide range of qualifications and high-quality on-site boarding facilities makes DLD stand out against the competition. And that's what we've been doing year in, year out. And you can see there that we've been called a beacon of hope during this pandemic, which has been tough for all of us. And I know there's light at the end of the tunnel now when we look forward to going back to school on March the 8th. But it has been tough. But during this time, we've come together, as I said, as a family, but not only within DLD, but amongst our community. And we've helped our local community as well along the way. That's what we're about. You'll see behind me the building. It's not square, it's not angular, it's circular. And that circular nature allows us for that wraparound care. And that wraparound care for me is not only for the wraparound care that we offer our boarders, our staff, our students, but also to our community. And at this particular time, community has been important. So we worked very hard with our local community, especially St. Thomas's Hospital and the Evelina Children's Hospital, to ensure that we became that beacon of hope. That's what the global press termed us as, a beacon of hope in the centre of London. You'll recall that there was a campaign, the Nightingale Hospital campaign, where there were rainbows for Nightingale. And unfortunately, the NHS could not receive any of those pictures because of the risk of contamination and infection. So our boarding pupils said, we'll take them. We've got so many windows here at college, as you can see behind me. And as a result, we posted each and every one of those pictures up and down college, covering some 4,000 odd pictures from all over the world. You can see why we became a beacon of hope as we continue to give support to our fantastic NHS workers who have been working relentlessly over this past year combating COVID. So that's what we are. We're not just a school, but we're part of a community. And if your son or daughter comes to DLD, they can expect high quality teaching and learning, excellent pastoral care, a range of co-curricular activities to nourish the mind, the body, the soul, and a compelling ethos of well-being, which is at the heart of our school, where your son and daughter is at the center of everything that we do. Now, our sector leading work in wellbeing was nominated for the prestigious Independent School of the Year Award in 2020, and we were also shortlisted for the Test Boarding School of the Year 2020. In October of last year, during the pandemic, we were awarded the Judges Special Award and the Independent School of the Year Award for Boarding School of the Year 2020. And in December, we were awarded the Mental Health in Boarding Gold Award by the Carnegie School of Education for our sector-leading work in boarding. We're the only school in the UK to have won this award and to have won these much coveted national accolades during this challenging time for all of us speaks volumes about the staff and students here at DLD. And it is our staff that are the key ingredients to what makes DLD so special. So much so, we've been awarded the London Healthy Workplace Charter for our work on staff well-being. We've come a long way in a short space of time, and we look to continue to be caring but innovative and lead the way in teaching and learning, well-being, and of course, boarding. Our results are outstanding too, and Marido will talk to you more about them, but over 75% of our A-level students achieved A star to B, 96% passed the International Foundation Programme, and 100% success in the BTEC and A star A in the EPQ. And 95% of our GCSE students achieved grades 9 to 4 last year. These are truly remarkable results achieved by our truly remarkable students and staff. It's an exciting time for the college and an exciting time for you to join us. And I only hope that your sons and daughters seize the various unique learning opportunities that are on offer here at DLD, from music, sport, art, drama, so that they're ready to face the challenges that lie beyond our front doors. We may not be blessed with all acreage of fields like traditional countryside boarding schools, but we do have something very special at our disposal. London is our classroom. For example, as soon as we finished our Remembrance Day service, we took our students to the Imperial War Museum. It put everything into context. We were back in time for lunch. That is the benefit of studying in a global city such as London. And as we look to continue to grow DLD and become an outstanding school with all the exciting innovations from the Wellbeing Centre to our urban boarding philosophy, I just want you to remember the three pioneers who established DLD back in 1931, Messrs. Davis, Lang, and Dick. And as we are now in our 90th anniversary this year, it's important we respect and continue their powerful legacy and long-standing reputation into the future, as they now become part of our 21st century vision, development, leadership, and diversity. And I want you to be part of that vision, where we create unique learning opportunities for our students. And so our mission going forward is about developing the next generation of leaders to take their place in a challenging and diverse world, DLD. I look forward to welcoming your sons and daughters to become the next generation of leaders when I hope they come and join us here in September 2021. Thank you very much for your time this evening. I look forward to meeting you all in person once school is open, and I'll now pass you over to Marido.
DLD College offers an extremely safe and secure environment with on-site 24-hour security as well as student lockers throughout the building. There are 55 classrooms fitted with 60 touchscreens, as well as our dedicated state-of-the-art laboratories for biology, chemistry and physics. If you join DLD, you will benefit from small classes with an average of 8 to 10 and no more than 15 pupils in a class. Our teachers are all highly trained professionals in their field of expertise, offering not only their time during the lessons, but additional support during their free time over a variety of academic societies and after-school activities. There are also PCs and iMacs available to you throughout the college. If you join DLD, you will be assigned a personal tutor who has the role of mentor throughout your academic journey, and along with our UCAS officer, we advise, guide and assist you to make the right choices, whether you have an ambition to start work, or as is the case for many of our students, to attend in Oxbridge or Russell Group University. Students at DLD learn in a variety of ways, using a wide range of resources accessible in our library. We welcome students from age 14, and there are a number of academic options available to you, depending on where you are in your academic journey. If you are joining us at GCSE level, we have both a 1-year intensive option as well as the more traditional 2-year GCSE programme. Both options focus on core subjects and have been selected to properly equip students for progression onto A-levels. We offer over 20 subjects at A-level, and as you can see, the college is well resourced to give students the best possible environment to thrive in those chosen subjects. We have a very strong art faculty, offering art and design, photography and graphic communication. We have other wonderful subjects available too, such as film studies, media studies, drama and theatre studies, classical civilization, sociology and psychology. The options do not stop there. We also pride ourselves on students' achievements in maths, sciences, humanities, business and economics. If you're not sure if an A-levels are for you, or you feel you better perform through coursework or more practical assignments, you could consider one of our BTEC courses in business or media production, which also provide you with a wealth of university opportunities. If you are one of our international students, you could also consider an International Foundation programme as an alternative to A-levels. This is a 1-year intensive course with a clear pathway to university. You have 8 pathway options at DLD: Art and Design, Fashion Management, business and economics, maths and economics, social sciences, computer science and maths, engineering, or medicine.
Okay, and now I'd like to welcome Marido to talk about everything academic. Thanks, Marido.
Thank you very much, Ben, and welcome everyone. I'm going to try to share my screen with you and be able to sort of talk about tonight what we have to offer at DLD College. And as you've heard already, we have quite a variety of programs, and you can see, hopefully now, the results that we had for the various qualifications. And I think these results speak for themselves, showing you how brilliant students can achieve as a sort of results. We talked about opportunities, and this is because we have so many different subjects that we can offer quite a lot of flexibility. But more than anything else, it's also to do with our first-class teachers. They are specialists, they come from top universities, and also, very importantly, they are examiners usually in their subjects, which means that they know exactly how to prepare your son or daughter. I think also what makes it particularly strong here is the fact that each student will have a personal tutor who is like a champion, somebody they can go to and will be able to support them. In terms of support, we have a full learning support team, and this is open to everyone because obviously it's always good to be able to ask the specialist what to do to be able to get the next stage. I think that another program which has been extremely successful has been the UCAS program. And we start advising students where they could apply from year 12. So we look at things very earlier on. And we also invite our year 11 to join our university fairs, which normally would take place in the first term. And instead of taking students to universities, universities come to us. And students are able to ask the admissions officers a lot of questions, and that's a very good way of starting the process. I'm showing you now sort of the various universities where students have been going to this September. So those were the destinations of our students this year. And as you can see, there's quite a broad range of places, but usually our students like to stay in London, so hence the sort of dominance of the London colleges. But I think what's important to know is that at DLD, it is all student-centered, and it's all about what you, the students, want to do. So that's why it is quite important. There's a lot of dialogue and discussion as to what is best for you. So what is the plus? Well, we do offer a lot of opportunities to the students, as the principal was mentioning. We have a stretch and challenge group. We have, and this is a very important qualification, the EPQ, which is the extended project qualification. And that will be a very good thing for students to enhance their application to university and also to develop their skills. Like in many schools, we have a lot of educational visits, and obviously London is our classroom. We've got access to a lot of places which are very interesting things to offer. And for those who are not quite yet ready for the EPQ but want to be able to do a research project, they can sort of focus on the DLD diploma. We have academic societies, and these are particularly important for students to open their mind and be able to sort of see the bigger picture. And obviously, it wouldn't be possible to have a good education without having lots of different possible activities and clubs to learn new skills and have some fun. Our approach is a holistic one, one where we want our students to be able to enjoy their courses and obviously to develop as individual. So this is it from me now, and I will be able to answer questions later on whenever you want. Thank you.
Good evening,
Okay,
everyone.
I'd
My
like to
name's...
welcome John Branney. Sorry, John.
It's all right. Good evening, everyone.
Assistant Principal for Teaching and Learning. I'll disappear now.
Sorry, Ben. Hi, everyone. My name's John Branney. As Ben pointed out, I'm Assistant Principal for Teaching and Learning. I'm just going to go through a presentation now on remote learning. So at DLD, we have sort of three key strands of remote learning. We have the student dashboard, which you've seen mentioned in the short video that was just played. We have Canvas, and we have Microsoft Teams, which is something that's been widely adopted during the pandemic. Something to highlight is that whilst there's been some acceleration in our use of digital technology because of the coronavirus, there are things that we retain after this period, and things that will be available to students in the next academic year. So it's not exclusively things that we've done just this year. There are things that we've had in place and things that we'll continue to have in place going forward. So these three things kind of are the core of what we offer in terms of remote learning, but it sits alongside classroom delivery as well. So we have the student dashboard, which is the kind of communication hub. And students have access to a number of different things within this. Things that are particularly important, worth drawing your attention to, are things like MedSoc. So if you've got any students who are interested in medicine, then we have a kind of portal that takes them through the entrance exams, the work experience programs, talks them about a day in the life of a doctor. We've got a range of guest speakers that come in that have added resources to that. We've got our UCAS and careers guidance. We've also got the exam portal, which has been particularly important this week because students have been doing mock exams. So they've been able to access links to each exam room through that portal, but also information about study skills and revision techniques. They're all available on that page as well. So this is something that can be accessed 24/7 outside of class time. It's very much to sit alongside what students are learning in class. They've also got access to, as you saw in the video again, Office 365 or Microsoft 365. So we provide students with access to things like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and we teach them about those things. So whether they've used Excel before and made a spreadsheet before or not, it doesn't matter. We've got programs that cater to all the different levels that students will be learning at. So digital literacy is something that we're very keen on because it's a very important part of how we work now. Many of us have been working from home. Many of us have had to accelerate our knowledge and understanding of digital technology, and it is something that's going to be retained. So it's important that young people are aware of what they can use to benefit their studies and benefit themselves as professionals. So the kind of next thing would be Canvas, which is our learning management system. And every single course has a page on Canvas. And we use this separately from the dashboard, really as an assessment tool and really to provide bespoke resources around what the students are learning in class. You've heard Marido, you've heard Irfan speak about, you know, the teachers being a real asset to DLD, and having those professionals produce bespoke content for students, you know, giving them those really high quality gold standard lessons, but also providing video resources with closed captions, so subtitles for students who may have English as a second language. You know, this type of you know, supplementary material is incredibly important. And we received a question about you know, SEND support, or what we'd label as kind of neurodiversity, and I may get an opportunity to talk a little bit more about that later. But this is one of the ways in which we cater towards students who may have a need for additional material, whether that be to support their learning or to extend their learning. So yeah, having Canvas allows students to take control of their own learning. They can review their grades, they can review their feedback in detail, they can keep a track of their deadlines. And again, this is all available 24/7 outside of class. So I'm not by any means condoning that students are, you know, staying up all night reviewing materials. It's important to have, you know, that reprieve, but the idea is that this is accessible and isn't fixed to a timetable, so students can kind of dip in and out of it at their convenience. So that's a little bit about the dashboard and a little bit about Canvas. Finally, we've got Microsoft Teams. So this has been obviously pivotal, incredibly important during lockdown. It's allowed us to maintain contact with our students and deliver live lessons from anywhere, and the students can attend from anywhere. And that puts an end, you know, to any disruption that might occur post-pandemic. So, you know, you know, having days off and for snow days are a complete thing of the past. And it allows students to receive also one-to-one support. And I do think that's something that we'll retain, you know, being able to just connect with a student and offer some tuition, or offer a student some guidance and support around something, you know, whether it's a UCAS application, whether it's pastoral support from their personal tutor or director of studies. Regardless of what that is, it allows a greater connection, a kind of human-to-human connection. It isn't like, you know, just sending an email and offering some support. It allows you to have, like we are now, you know, having a dialogue. So yeah, I think, you know, this is something that we will retain. One thing that's been particularly important, certainly something that I've seen my students really benefit from, is what we label learning communities. So being able to create their own little study groups, being able to meet and talk to one another outside of lessons has been a real advantage. And again, this is something that the platform will allow us to do. I engage with student council using Microsoft Teams. We also have a number of different other communities that meet online. So academic societies have almost like little groups that they can chat to and engage with each other throughout the week. It's not just something that takes place once a week. You know, there might be a physical lesson and they can come and attend, and, you know, there might be a guest lecture or there might be an activity that they do, but they can still maintain contact with one another. And that's a real, you know, we talk about tolerance, respect and kindness. That's a real advantage of DLD is the sense of community. And there's also a whole host of other digital resources that we use, JSTOR, Britannica, Massalit, which if you don't know is a humanities resource, it's fantastic. Easy Education, ExamFit for mathematics. And Blinkist, just to encourage that reading, you would have seen on the, hopefully you would have, keen-eyed viewers would have seen in the student dashboard that there is a library tab. There are students who publish book reviews. Charlotte, who's not only one of our student council members, but also you know, someone within boarding who contributes to the book reviews. She may be able to share some information about that later on. But yeah, just encouraging students to read. And, you know, Blinkist is a fantastic resource for doing that. And there are other resources that you know, I could acknowledge many more. But this is just a good overview of what we do to cater to students' individual needs and provide them with a range of resources. And here are some testimonials. Now, something else that's worth acknowledging is that during the pandemic, feedback is always very important. Student voice is something that I'm a great ambassador for, and I'm a great, you know, I'm very supportive of. And the tools, the digital tools that we use are allowing us to receive more and more feedback from students. And that's really great. It kind of just boosts the confidence in what we do. So, here's some comments from some of the students, great school is used on a number of occasions. So, just being able to connect and just being able to learn from our students and from our staff and being able to share ideas has just been a really wonderful benefit of our period of remote learning. And like I say, there'll be lots of lessons that we learn from this period that we're going to take forward into into our educational journey as a college moving forward. So yeah, if you do have any questions, do feel free to get in touch. And hopefully you've enjoyed learning a little bit more about how we use digital technology to support our students' learning. Thanks very much.
Achievement and success at DLD is not limited to your course alone. We have a vast array of co-curricular activities available to you. Co-curricular options include a variety of sports, the Debating Society, Film Society, Chess Club, the DLD College Band, DLD Productions where you can make use of our state-of-the-art recording studio, Drama Club, making use of our 70-seater theatre and green screen, as well as a number of academic societies which allow you to enhance your knowledge and understanding of your chosen subjects. At DLD College, pastoral care is one of our key strengths where we were judged excellent for personal development in our most recent ISI inspection. We have our very own Wellbeing Centre, which is home to our Head of Wellbeing, College Counsellor and College Nurse, and all staff are dedicated to building those strong relationships with all students. A student who feels supported and happy will be ready to face the world beyond DLD. DLD College has its very own multi-surface pitch and wellbeing garden, where you can play team sports with friends, relax, read a book or study. We have our very own global kitchen, offering a variety of delicious, well-balanced, healthy meals for breakfast and 3-course lunches and dinners, catering for all tastes and dietary requirements. Our head chef is also happy to take recipe suggestions, so do share if you'd like anything added to the menu. If this isn't enough, you could treat yourself to a panini or pastry with your hot drink at the Grumpy Mule coffee shop, taking a well-earned break from your studies.
And now I'd like to welcome Tom, our Senior Vice Principal, who's going to talk about everything pastoral. Thank you very much, Tom.
Thank you, Ben. So it's a delight to have the chance this evening just to talk a little bit about the pastoral care that we have at DLD. And you've seen some great images there, and particularly the food. I'm sure some of you are quite hungry at the moment, and having seen some of those pictures of the delicious food that we have down in the global kitchen, I'm sure you're ready for your own dinner. But we have some great kind of really great structures, great kind of practices that we do within the college around pastoral care that I just want to introduce to you. So I'm going to share my screen just for a moment and just give you a bit of an overview on those. So you can see there some of those awards that Irfan was talking about at the very beginning of the presentation, and it's some of those unique learning opportunities that we offer at the college, which really has the foundation around some of the things that we do in terms of these awards. So as you can see, very, very lucky to get some of those awards around the boarding school of the year, but also that special judges award for independent schools, very much around our well-being provision. And that's really an excellent, excellent recognition of some of the great work that the team have been doing over the last few years. We've also got shortlisted for the TES Independent School of the Year award last year, as well as getting recognition from the ISA, the Independent Schools Association, as well as getting this gold award for our school mental health, which is the first school in the country to get that. So we're very, very proud of all the things that we do. But what is it all about? It's all about making sure that the student is very much at the center of everything that we do. So we wouldn't be anyone without really the student, and really just making sure that we have everybody around that student is the key thing. So this diagram gives you some ideas of some of those key individuals, the key people who are there to support your sons and daughters throughout their journey, throughout their life at DLD. So at the very top, Mary Day spoke about this as well, the personal tutor, that person who's the champion of your son and daughter, the person that they go and see once a day, that they can speak to, that can develop a relationship with and really understand them. And they're there for an academic perspective and pastoral. So really, really important people. Then we have this director of studies in different contexts. This is called housemaster or housemistress, the director of studies. These kind of people oversee the personal tutor groups and really have a sense, again, of an overview and really intervene when need be. Then in the red section, we've got a huge number of well-being professionals who are experts in their own ways. We've got a school counsellor, Emily, and a team of counsellors around her, which provide specific and professional support for students who require additional needs and are feeling a bit stressed out. And that can be around exams, it can be around all the different pressures that they might be going through. We've got a school nurse, Christina, who's there each day, and she's helping and supporting the students. Our head of wellbeing, Mark Johnson, an excellent individual who's really there to oversee very much our proactive measures, making sure that our tracking, making sure that some of the PSHE, some of those lessons are all taking place and that really fit the bill. We've got a head of learning support, or as we call them, the head of neurodiversity. And this is a really crucial area for us, neurodiversity, celebrating the differences between those individual students who might have different specific educational needs, but really have a great deal to give and really celebrate that at DLD. We then also have a school coach, and we've got a whole coaching culture. We train all our teachers in coaching skills. And this is about empowering each and every student so that they could get the very best out of their potential. Our school coach, Matteo, is here once a week, but we have all this ongoing coaching conversations going on. We've got a couple of members of staff in student services, Marilyn and Michelle, who are there, and they very much are there for attendance and any kind of other proactive measures that the students need. Then, in terms of the boarding, you're going to hear from James in a few minutes. We talk about huddles. He's going to be talking about that a little bit more. But also the accommodation officer, and these are for the people who are living outside as independent livers. Very much important to have somebody there to oversee them. And then in the blue section, and you'll hear from Charlotte in a little while, the student council. The student voice is central to us and actually the driver of a lot of the things that are great about DLD. You'll hear more about how the student voice is really interpreted within the college. But the student mentoring system is there alongside the student council, and some unbelievable practice there. So we've actually just been nominated for award for our innovation in student voice, and we're very, very proud of that practice there. So that's really to give you an overview of some of those structures. I hope you've got a good idea there. I'm happy to answer any questions at the end, and I'm going to hand back now over to Ben, I think. Thanks ever so much.
Directly above the college, you will find your home away from home in our award-winning urban boarding. All single rooms come equipped with your own desk, over and under bed storage, and a deep spacious wardrobe, as well as your very own ensuite shower room and toilet. If you are looking for a little more space, or you would like to guarantee a view of Westminster, you could opt for one of our premier rooms. Twin rooms options are also available for those students who wish to share a room with a close friend. On all floors of the boarding, you will find a shared lounge and kitchen known as a huddle, ensuring you're able to balance having that privacy you need, as well as socialising with your friends. Security and safety is paramount for our boarders. So when you join, you'll be assigned a house parent who will assist you with anything you need, but also make sure you're having fun during your free time.
Okay, and now I'd like to welcome James, our Vice Principal for Boarding, who's going to tell you everything about boarding. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ben, and good evening, everyone. Like everyone else, I'll be sharing my screen, so bear with me just 1 second, and we'll get that up for you there. And obviously, you started to see some of our facilities through the the videos there. So hopefully it gives you an idea of what is open to yourself. So in terms of boarding environment at DLD, we sort of split it into 3 focus areas: award-winning experienced pastoral care, first-class facilities in a world-class location in London, and that support, the well-being, the sleep, the mental health support that's in place. In terms of the pastoral care, so all students go into a huddle. The huddles are split based on gender and age. There's about 30 to 40 students within each huddle. The staff are the house parents, as Tom and Ben mentioned earlier. They're dedicated to boarding. They work with academic staff like John, like Mary Doe, but their focus throughout the day, throughout the weekend, throughout the evenings is definitely on the pastoral care. It's proactive pastoral care. They're all trained as coaches. They're all very experienced, and they're here to be able to help our students to really expand themselves, to grow, but also to pick up those small little things that always come up. When you first turn up, you're not quite sure where you're going, they're there for you. If it's something else, maybe you're a bit homesick, they'll also be there for you. As you can see, the quote from a student here, the house parents are like a second family to me. As I say, Charlotte's on later on, I'm sure she'd mention the same thing. It's very much community. At the moment, we've got about 50 students who are in a boarding house. You may hear a few of them because I'm right outside their social zone at the moment. And they are enjoying being in that community sense, whether that's karaoke, whether that is pool, whether that's badminton, whether that's outside the building, as we'll come on to later on. So in the video, you saw some of the facilities. We do have first-class facilities. The boarding experience is right above. It's all one building, 18 floors in this building. And so you have classrooms downstairs and your rooms are upstairs. It is a home away from home. It's about space, it's about independence. You will join the huddle, and part of that will be a flat, if you will, which has a common room. So you can see in the top left there, an example of that where there's a kitchen space, but also some down space, somewhere where you can sit and watch TV, you can play table football, whatever it might be. And actually just a chance to mix with other people. All of the rooms are en suite, so everyone will have at least their own shower to share with someone else, but most of our rooms are singles, so you'll have your own shower, and you will work then from the flat just into the lift, straight downstairs into the college. We do have some outdoor space, as you saw in the video, and we're also just 3 minutes away from the local park, and the local park has a range of facilities also, and if you're into your sport, a lot of it will take place just down there, so not too far away at all. However, boarding is about more than just somewhere to sleep. It is about developing yourself, ready for the future, ready for university or for work, whatever that might be for yourself. So our issues of leadership, community involvement, and obviously doing that within a studying location are really important. Charlotte, you're getting a lot of mentions tonight, but Charlotte helped lead the food bank drive last year. And that's a really successful way of getting involved in the local community. It is really important that we give back. We're really fortunate here, and if you're a student at DLD, there's lots of positives, but we're also about trying to make sure that we're aware of what's going around us, and so actually getting involved in that. Taking some ownership of your time and activities. For the students on this call, I'm sure you'll want to actually have that independence so you can get out into London. It is right on our doorstep, half an hour away from pretty much every landmark that you've heard of in London, and we're about 10 minutes away from Big Ben, from the London Eye, all those sorts of things. So it's a really fantastic place, and there's lots of people that want to get involved in doing things with yourselves. So actually activities, trips, going off to a sports stadium, these are really opportunities that you should grasp as you go. However, I appreciate as a parent on the call, you're probably wanting to make sure that whilst your child might want independence, you want them to be supported, and that's absolutely something we want too. So that comes down to the Wellbeing Centre, that comes down to our staff and some students being trained as mental health first aiders, and also our work with the sleep charity. So we've got several members of staff who are now sleep practitioners, and they lead workshops on how to sleep well so that obviously you can function better. That ties in with, as Tom said, about the nutrition and the food, and the kitchen that we have. You saw in the video called the Global Kitchen is where everyone takes their meals, whether that's breakfast, lunch or dinner, but also where you can go for snacks. And at the moment, lots of people are using it to work in because there's lots of fantastic natural light, and it gives a bit of balance. So the support is there, but it also enables students to get independence and to get prepared for life beyond, so that the boarding house becomes home, but it also becomes a way of learning too. Any questions on the boarding, happy to take them later on, but that's it from me for now. Many thanks.
Situated in the heart of London, one of the world's great multicultural capital cities of the world, where culture, art, business and opportunity is on your doorstep. Come join us, grow, thrive and succeed at DLD College London.
Okay, hi everyone. So as I mentioned at the start, I'm the head of admissions here at DLD College. So I'm going to give you just a very quick overview of the application process. Very simply, there's only 4 stages to the application process. So the first thing you would need to do is apply with us, and you all have my email address, and I'll be following up with you after the call tonight. So complete the application form and return with a copy of your latest school report or your predicted grades if you have those, and a copy of your passport. Once we've received that, then we'll arrange an interview with a member of our executive leadership team. And when I say interview, it's much more of a discussion, really, much more informal than that. So it's an opportunity for you to find out more about the college, but also for an opportunity for our staff to find out a bit about you and advise you in the right way to make sure that you're taking the courses that not only are suitable for you, but will also get you to where you want to get after 2 years or 4 years at DLD. That interview is about 30 minutes long. And following the interview, assuming you're successful, which I'm sure you will be, we will follow up with an offer of a place. Once you receive that offer, to confirm, it's just a case of sending back a copy of the deposit and a copy of the acceptance form, and then you're ready to join DLD College. Very shortly, in the next couple of weeks, we'll be sending out our student welcome portal details to all new students, and that offers a wealth of information to get you prepared for joining DLD. That's including student reading lists. We have videos from faculty heads and some of the teachers to tell you a bit more about the courses that you'll be studying, some other tips for learning, and also we have some tasks for you to complete as well. So we want to find out more about you before you join, so that we can tailor your introduction to the college as well. So I urge you to apply. I hope you do apply, and I hope what you've seen this evening has been really, really useful. It's been a very strange year, so we have been a little more flexible on application deadlines. We are taking applications for 2022 already, but we do still have places for 2021. So I would say that it's best to think about applying very soon, particularly if you want to get your first choice of subjects. Some of our subjects do fill up very, very quickly. Business, economics, maths, psychology, very, very popular subjects. So if you have any questions, obviously feel free to ask very, very soon. Alternatively, please follow up with an email. So that's me, and I'll pass back to Rachel to introduce the FAQ session. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for all of your presentations. I hope everybody found those worthwhile this evening. As I said at the beginning of the evening, we did have some pre-event questions, which we will go through and answer now. But we also have the Q&A function and the chat function. So I do encourage you to type in there, and we'll also answer your questions. Ben, before you go, just can you confirm when the deadline is for applications? If all those speakers could put their videos on now, that would be good. Thank you.
Yes, so as I said, it would be better to apply sooner rather than later if you want those first choice subjects, but we have a application deadline of the 30th of June. That gives us plenty of time to prepare for your arrival.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So following on from James's chat, whilst you were talking, somebody this evening wanted to know, how do you keep the children safe at night and with London on our doorstep?
Sure, no worries. So we have a system called Reach, and Charlotte will tell you she has to sort of tap in and tap out as where she goes, which tells us where the students will be. We also have obviously lots of benefits of modern communication technologies, so things like WhatsApp groups, phones, everything else, where we can get hold of people. Depending on the age, if you are a younger student with us, you have to go out in a small group. You can't go out by yourself, just for safety and just to get used to the environment. Also, when you're new, whatever age you are, we'll give you an idea of the areas. So for example, if people have never been to London, we can absolutely give them some guidance, buddy you up with someone who can talk you through. In terms of the building itself, we have security on through the evening and overnight. So actually they're here to keep the building safe. There's always someone available, but there's also a house parent on call overnight. So if there's an issue, they can get the phone call from security straight away, and they're dealing with that. But there's curfews in place. So again, depending on age, so students have to be back by a certain time. There will be lots of checks in place if people want to go out for the first time, just to make sure they know what they're doing and how they're getting there, that sort of things. And yeah, it's a pretty rigorous process. So the fact we're in the city, we know we need to do it, which makes it more likely to be safer than perhaps in an area where you might feel that it shouldn't be a problem, because we expect, just in case, we need to be on top of that.
And Charlotte, could you give us an answer from your point of view, how you feel about safety and security in London, please?
Yes, absolutely. So I joined DLD at a very young age when I was 14. So I've gone through all the stages and all the rules. So every year the police come into DLD, and it means we acknowledge that London isn't one of the safest places, but we are aware of how to be safe. So they come in, they talk to us, they tell us to put our phones away, make sure you know where you're going, tell people where you're going. So when I was below 16, I had to go out in groups of 3 people. It was in local areas. I could go to Covent Garden, I could go to Oxford Street, but when I was doing the induction week, I was taken out with older people. I was taught how to take the tube. I walked to places, I was shown the local area, all those sorts of things. And now I'm older, I also have a curfew, but I'm still aware. I tap out on Reach so they know where I am. And if I change the place or location I am at, I phone the house parents and tell them so they can also be updated. In case anything happens, I'm the first person that they will contact.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Charlotte. So one question that we had before tonight was about the percentage of international students. So Irfan, would you be able to talk about our mix of students, please?
Yes, of course. We are blessed to have such a wide variety of students. We have some 50-odd students from all over the world. So a great variety, great mix. And that's part of the DLD, the mission, where D is diversity, not only diversity in our curriculum, where we offer a whole host of subjects and qualifications, but obviously diversity in terms of the people that we have here living as a family. And we have some 25% of our intake is from the UK, 24% is from Europe, so France, Germany, Spain, Italy, etc. And then the rest, the other 50-odd%, is from all over the world. And it makes for a great mix, and which means that every day we have something to celebrate, whether it's Chinese New Year, whether it's Eid, whether it's Diwali, whether it's Jewish New Year. Purim is coming up on Friday. And so that, again, is an education in itself, because we learn to appreciate other cultures, other opinions, other beliefs, and we learn to live and tolerate and respect each other. And so it also reflects modern day life in cosmopolitan London and in the big cities as well. We come across a whole host of different types of people from varying backgrounds. And so to live in such a community here at DLD is just absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. And a question this evening was about whether we have any houses or sports competitions, which I guess leads to that environment, that community feel. So I don't know who would like to talk about that, Irfan or Tom? Tom, yeah.
I'm happy to talk about houses. So Yeah, we have a great house system going on in the lower school at the moment. We have it's very tense and very competitive between the two groups, and they're named Westminster and Marylebone after the kind of the places that we've been located in the past and present. So that's most probably going to be moved up into the kind of older age groups as well from next year. So lots of great competitions, things like debating, things like kind of sports, obviously football and things like that we've got going. We've got such a wealth of extracurricular activities that plug into those kind of competitions. So yeah, so house systems are there. I think it's very exciting as well because it generates that sense of family, that belonging, that identity. You know, James talked about huddles, but it's this sense of just connecting. It's the mortar between the kind of bricks, and that's what we're really working on, and really getting a sense of, you know, that everybody feels part of something here. So yeah, no, house systems are very important.
And then somebody beforehand asked whether we have any compulsory sports and enrichment.
Yeah, so in terms of the enrichment, is the ECAs, or kind of CCA, sorry, we call them the co-curricular activities. Those go on after obviously the timetable lessons. Generally, there are a few during the day, like the ukulele club, which is very popular with some. But that and music as well, obviously, is very important. In terms of you know, the key ones which are compulsory for the lower school, they have a compulsory sports, which they have to do every single week, where there's a compulsory element to that. But the key thing about DLD is, you know, we keep talking about sense of a bridge between, you know, school and university, and that's really where we are. So we have a very rich array of different things that people can do, but it's very optional, and we use personal tutors to make some suggestions and get people into kind of maybe the right frame of mind about, you know, taking some of those on. And so you know, really it's encouraging people as much as possible to take some of the great kind of things we have on offer.
Great. There's another question coming about nationalities. Which European nationalities are in the school? I don't know, James, you will know about.
We've got 50 different nationalities in the school. During the video, you may have seen around the atrium all the flags. So the flags represent everyone that's from a different country. Their flag is up around the atrium. So in terms of listing them all, we could probably be here for a while. But there's a lot of people from Russia, Spain, Kazakhstan, Estonia, Portugal. Feel free to jump in.
France, Italy.
Italy.
Yeah, most of the countries you can think of, we're going to have students coming from there. So yeah, we've got that full range, you know, whether it's from the UK, Europe, beyond the UK, or Asia, or we've got American students from US, students from South America. We've pretty much got, I think, everyone apart from the sort of Oceania, every continent is with us.
Excellent.
We've got a teacher, if that helps as well. So all covered.
Whilst we're on the culture of the school, somebody has also asked, do we have a uniform, or what's the dress code?
I'll take that one.
Yeah.
We don't have a dress code. We do have a dress code for sports, where we have our sports kits, and of course it's branded. But we don't have a uniform. I don't wear a tie. I haven't worn a tie now since I came here back in January 2018. And all through my teaching career, I've always worn a tie, and it's very liberating. Now, the reason why we don't have a uniform is that I don't want to be going around asking people to tuck in their shirts, do up their ties, tie up their shoelaces, and this, that, and the other. I'd rather be having conversations about how's their chemistry going? What are they doing for sports? Have they gone to their music lesson? Are they doing their practice? And so I can focus on things which really do matter. Don't get me wrong, uniform is important. But I think in this context now, for us, it is about making sure that the academic and the well-being of our students is focused on. And so I think by putting uniform to one side and asking our students to turn up in an outfit where they're ready for work. So it's very much like the Google sort of Facebook environment that we're trying to cultivate here. That's the sort of jobs they're going to anyway when we finish at DLD and at university. So no, I'm very I champion the fact that we don't have a school uniform, and I want people to be individuals. and that comes in from our values of tolerance and respect and kindness. And if we can respect individuals, whether that's whatever they wear, as long as they don't wear anything which is offensive, etc. And this is not a beach club, and they understand that, but they're here ready to work and come in sort of smart casual.
Thank you, Irfan. Charlotte, you've been mentioned several times this evening. Would you like to talk about your role on the Student Council and how important the student voice is, please, in the college?
Yes, absolutely. So the Student Council, or the students in general, are the core part of DLD, and one of the best highlighted parts of that is the Student Council. So there's 18 members, there's 2 heads of school, and then there's 4 subgroups, which represent the key areas of the school that the students are most interested in and have the most opinions about. So we have an academics team, a wellbeing team, a charity, and events team. You apply for the Student Council. It's a role we take very seriously as a school, and it's where you hear the most feedback from. So the academics team will link with Mary Doe and John Branney, and they discuss things such as online schooling and what can be improved, and they are inputted about the student dashboard. And then the events team will work with Jess, and their main events at DLD and things we get most excited about is Prom and Graduation. I'm not sure if this was mentioned, but our graduation is one of the best parts about DLD. We get to graduate at Westminster and then come over here and get some of the best pictures you can at graduation. The Student Council, and that's one of the best things, the Student Council is a really good thing, but there are also other members such as the student mentors, which help the lower school kids, but they're all giving input in constantly. As James said, we have the WhatsApp groups that are created to give input, and then we relay that information onto the SLT and members of staff that need to hear it.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Irfan?
Yeah, just going on from that, Charlotte did say one of the highlights for her as a year 13 in next year is graduating or having our speech day at the Houses of Parliament in Westminster. That wasn't organised by me or by Tom or by Mary Doe or by Ben or Rachel or James or John. It was nothing to do with the SLT. It was all to do with student voice. They wanted a speech day, which was quite grand and not done at school. So we said, right, where do you want it? And they said, we want it there at Westminster. So they went off and they organised it. So that is student voice at its best. They're the ones who are shaping what the school looks like. And, you know, these young minds are so astute that we are very, very fortunate to have the likes of Charlotte who help run the school. So I'm very, very grateful to Charlotte and all the Student Council for all the work that they've been doing, especially during this pandemic and bringing us all together. So thank you very much, Charlotte.
Thank you. Moving on to some academic questions. Mary Doe, somebody asked us, what is the best way to prepare for year 12 in the summer of year 11?
So I think what is very helpful is to use the reading list that we give. And when students come to us, we have a series of extra activities that they can do so that they can sort of do a bit of extension work. So that's usually sort of subject specific and is accessible on Canvas if they wish.
Thank you. And then we had another one about A-level subjects. Do students select 4 subjects and then drop one?
Yes, that's what we advise, because we are very keen to encourage students to do the EPQ, which is the extended project qualification. The purpose of choosing 4 subjects to start with is to make sure that the students have done the right selection, and so that they don't need to catch up if they decide that one subject is not for them. They can just drop it.
Great, thank you. John, you touched on in your presentation a bit about the neurodiversity support, and that was a question that came in before tonight's event. We've also got one this evening. Can you tell us more about how you support neurodiverse students, dyslexia, for example?
Of course. To indulge me for a second, I'm just going to come back to the question about 4 subjects, because it's not necessarily about dropping a subject, but you know, about using that time more effectively, perhaps. And we do have up to 10% of our students do 4 A levels in year 13. So you know, it's for some students it's appropriate if they can cope with the demand. An EPQ is worth half an A level, so it is a means of boosting a university application. So I just thought you know, there's some quite important points I think just to highlight around the 4 subjects. But yeah, to come back to neurodiversity, I think, look, when we talk about student support, you know, I think we're treating students as individuals. You know, that's something that DLD kind of prides itself on. We celebrate difference. So when we think about, you know, a student's kind of learning needs, it's about celebrating what they can do rather than what they can't. So neurodiversity is very much about that approach. If you are someone who struggles with dyslexia, for example, or, you know, and I say struggle very loosely because that's a kind of, you know, vernacular that's used around dyslexia. If you're someone that has dyslexia, then there's advantages to that. There are benefits to that as well as limitations. And you know, if you're an entrepreneur, for example, dyslexia can be advantageous. It gives you a number of qualities in the way that your brain functions that lend itself very well to that type of work. So yeah, it really is about ensuring that we understand the needs of an individual. Our teachers are very well informed about different learning needs and you know, and means and ways of tapping into those capabilities, and looking at ways in which we can support students and enable them to be successful. I think that that's really what we're talking about, isn't it? You know, how can we give students the greatest opportunity for success? You know, whether it's a learning need or not, whether it's, you know, something that needs to be addressed, or giving them an extra push, you know, encouraging them to undertake something like an EPQ, encouraging them to do 4 A levels when they may be thinking about dropping down to 3 because it may benefit a university application. We treat everything in very much, you know, a case-by-case basis, and work closely with individuals to you know, to address whatever needs they may have.
Thank you. And somebody asked as well before the event, is the school open because of coronavirus? You're muted.
This happens to me, so sorry. The school has been open since the 23rd of March 2020. We've been open throughout. Obviously, some of our boarders could not get home due to flight restrictions, borders closing, etc. And my hat is taken off to the likes of John Branney and James, etc., who have worked really, really hard to ensure that those kids continue to get that online learning and are looked after in boarding. We've had our kids over throughout the whole of Christmas as well, and we've continued to look after them. You know, James was there Christmas Day eating with them when we had a big banquet on Christmas Day made by the Global Kitchen. I gave an assembly on Christmas Day to our boarders as well. So we've been open throughout. We haven't stopped. We pride ourselves on the fact that our remote provision, which has been put together by our academic team, has been second to none. And again, our pastoral care through boarding has been fantastic. So it's no surprise that we've won some of those awards, and I'm really, really grateful to all the staff for all the work that they're doing and still doing while we're in lockdown, while we look after our students and give them the best possible experience, but at the same time making sure that they academically achieve, but also maintaining their well-being and mental health.
And another question was, do we foresee mainly face-to-face, or will there still be some online lessons going forward?
I think it will be face-to-face. I think people now are wanting to come back. We've now seen the restrictions are going to be slowly lifted, and the cautious way that has happened. The vaccine rollout, which has been conducted in the UK, is world-class. And so, you know, with over a quarter of the adult population now having been vaccinated, and to have nearly all the adult population vaccinated by July before term starts in September is absolutely fantastic. So I hope to go back to face-to-face learning. But during this course of COVID, it has taught us a lot about being able to pivot, being able to deliver remote learning. And I know there's never, ever going to be a snow day again. Because if there is a snow day, or London Transport decides to go on strike and all those sort of things, we'll just switch to remote learning and continue delivering our high quality teaching and learning to our children.
Great. So Charlotte, we'll be back in for face-to-face lessons in 10 days. can you, one of the question was, what's an average week? Do you think you could map out a week for, when we are in college for our listeners?
Yes, absolutely. So as a boarder, I only have to get an elevator downstairs. So thankfully, I do get a bit of a lie-in. My registration's at 8:30, so I go downstairs, I eat my breakfast, and then I'll go in and do my first class. If I'm a GCSE student, then I'll carry on all day and have 3 breaks. But thankfully now I'm an A-level student, I get a few more breaks in the day. When I have a break in the day, I tend to do work in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I'll go outside. We live right next to Archbishop's Park, and me and my friends will usually go there, do some work outside, get some fresh air. After school day, we have CCAs. So I'm an Alpha Scholar, so that is my academic society. I'm also in the netball team. I take part in boxing. In the boarding house, we have dinner at 6 o'clock, but we have a lot of after school activities. So we have Friday night horror movies, which isn't my favorite, but next month is comedy month, so I will be down there then. On Saturdays and Sundays, the atrium is going to be full of games. So we have badminton, there's chess competition happening right now. But in normal times, we meet down in the atrium. It's our lie-in day, so we only go downstairs at like 11 a.m. and we make plans in our groups for how we want to spend the day. So most of it will be exploring London because we are new in the city and want to go out in groups. We go, right now we're all taking lots of walks. We're finally learning how to use the Boris bikes. Bit scary at first, but once you get to Hyde Park, it's a lot more fun. So that's the usual day. Our homework, we get about 1 homework per subject each week, very manageable. And then we get our homework back a week later.
Brilliant. Sounds action-packed. Yeah. Somebody's asked this evening, how many students will be joining Year 12 in September? I don't know who wants to take that, Ben or, yeah, Ben?
Yeah, I'll take that. So a little bit difficult to answer right now, but the expectation is total number of new students joining us will be hopefully around 200. Of those, probably about 130, I would say, will be joining Year 12. That's the hope and expectation for this year. So Year 12 certainly is our is where we have the biggest intake.
Okay, and Charlotte mentioned that she was an Alpha Scholar. Irfan's gone. How many students tend to compete for a place on the Alpha Scholar programme?
Okay, so we have up to 10 places every year. And in terms of the number of students competing, it's around 2 to 1. So there's, it's not the case that you apply and everyone gets it. You have to go through a process.
Yeah, we have. Oh, sorry, Ben.
Oh, sorry, you're back. Hello. Yeah, so up to 10 places, and it's quite competitive, and you do need to really focus when you're taking that assessment. I'm sure Charlotte would agree with that.
Yeah.
Ben, a question about the IFP programme. Do you know how many students will be on the IFP programme this September?
Again, quite difficult to say at the moment at this fairly early stage, particularly with the international students applying a little bit later this year. But as I said, around 200 students total, around 120, 130 Year 12, and I would say around 45 to 50 will probably be joining the IFP, I would say.
Okay.
And we have 2 new IFPs this year as well in social science and medicine, so they've been proving to be popular subjects as well.
Brilliant. Well, we're coming towards the end of the pre-event questions. So if anybody does have questions, live questions, please do type them in now. Somebody's just sent one in now. Are there any entrance exams?
So I can reply for that. Unless you are applying for a scholarship, it's not an entrance exam, but it is an interview which digs a bit about what you want to do. And we look obviously at your exam results in the previous year. So we sort of, if we have any doubts as to whether or not this is a subject which is suitable for a student, we like to actually sort of get them through some sort of practice with us so that we can see, because very often students may not have the correct grade for a subject like math, for instance, where you really need to sort of work hard at GCSE, but nevertheless have got very good skills, and we can sort of assess that. So no entrance exam unless you're looking for a scholarship.
And with regards to the scholarships, Ben, another question was about bursaries. So I guess wondering to what extent fees are covered.
Yeah, so we have a scholarship program and a bursary program as well. Obviously, our budget for those fees to be reduced is finite. So we do only have a certain amount that we can award each year. But it is there and it is an option. For the scholarships, we would usually ask the students to nominate 1 or 2 subjects that they would like to take a scholarship assessment in. And at the moment, we've been arranging those remotely. So we've had students just similar to this over Zoom in exam conditions taking those subjects that they wish to do. They're an hour-long paper, and then it takes a few days to receive the result on those. For the bursary, it's a form to complete, which then goes to our finance manager to review, and then he will decide on what level of bursary, if anything, that can be offered. We can combine scholarships and bursaries where necessary as well. But as I mentioned, the pot is finite, and so if that's something of interest to you, and you feel that's something you can compete in, particularly on the scholarships, then I would advise to get your application in very soon.
And a specific question about what exactly would be in the scholarship exam.
Okay, so it depends on the subject. Yeah, it very much depends on the subject, but I can give you just an example. So for maths, there will be 10 set questions, and it will be an hour long to complete those questions.
And that's all he can say.
Yes.
Thank you very much for that. A specific question about some parents who would like to stay in the UK whilst their son studies as a day student. They're from the EU. So they'd like to ask whether we are eligible to stay in the UK during this period. Do we know the answer to that, anybody?
I don't think that there is a problem for you to stay in the UK, provided that you can not extend your stay for more than 6 months at a time, I think. But it's not so much whether or not you'll be allowed to go into the UK, it's whether you can go back to your home country afterwards. Mm-hmm. I think that's at the moment the difficulty. For instance, you're from France, but on the whole, I think that it should be possible. But if you want to stay for the whole year, I think that now with Brexit, there probably is a request for a visa.
Can I just add to that? We do have, we are part of a big group, and we have a head office which has a full compliance team there, and we also have our own compliance manager at DLD as well. So if you have a very specific question around that, then we have a team that can advise.
Okay. That's great. Thank you very much. I think that's all the questions for this evening. So unless anybody else has any further questions to send live. Yes, we have one here. Oh, thank you for an interesting presentation. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you for attending. So on behalf of everybody this evening, I'd like to say thank you very much for attending. It was delightful to speak to you all. And if you do have any further questions, don't hesitate to contact us at any time. Anybody who's been talking this evening is happy to answer any questions. And if we don't have the answers, we can always put you in touch with the correct person. So we will leave that there and we'll say good night. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.